Maybe I've asked you to describe your emotions as feelings in your body, or maybe I'm not actually your therapist at all, and you're just here to get my take on these Reddit Am I the A-holes? Am I the a-hole for videotaping my wife eating all my fries to make a point? Oh, already I'm excited for this one. I've seen many posts about wives/girlfriends who insist they, quote, don't want anything when the husband/boyfriend is getting food, but then proceed to eat his food. So I apologize if this sounds familiar. Well, right off the bat, I can tell you that that is related to this cultural phenomenon of women pretending that they don't have an appetite. Honestly, it's really sad that women have been taught to deny their hunger, and these deep-rooted beliefs manifest in these little behaviors that can be super annoying for everyone. I don't eat a lot of fast food, but I do indulge when we have long drives. My wife typically packs a lot of healthy snacks for herself. Yogurts, quinoa salad, in the cooler, protein bars, whatever. I like McDonald's. She claims the food is disgusting, but then invariably wants a few fries and ends up eating half of them or more, although she always denies eating so many and claims she just had a few. My mom was like this, and I'll just say really quick that she's always given me permission to share our dysfunctional experiences on the internet as learning material. And this was one of those things where she grew up probably like this wife, knowing how bad fast food really is for you, how unhealthy it is, and then also kind of conflating that with the body stuff and the eating stuff. And this just immediately made me think of my mom, because I actually grew up like well into a young adulthood so confused about fast food, because it was this thing that she talked such about. It was disgusting. It wasn't real food. It was so nasty. We hated that stuff, but also we would like binge out on it randomly, like this exciting kind of once in a while treat. We'd be really enjoying it in that moment, but then it's like we just didn't speak of that. We like repressed enjoying that fast food. It's like when you have those kind of rigid beliefs about food and stuff, you have to almost repress the part of you that enjoyed eating the fast food and keep pretending that you hate it, while meanwhile your body that just wants like the fat and calories is trying to find a way around it. Hence, oh, I'll just keep eating a few of my husband's fries. On the trip in question a couple of weeks ago, it's she and I and my 13-year-old son, Nick. Wife needs a bathroom, so we pull off at an exit where there's a McDonald's. Son and I go to order food to go while she's in the bathroom. I asked her if she wanted anything, as I always do, and she said no, but I will take a couple of your fries. Uh-oh, those fries are not safe. I bet already this guy's simmering. My go-to order at McDonald's is the $5, although it's now $6 in a lot of places, value meal, which includes a McDouble, 4 chicken nuggets, a small fry, and a drink. It's plenty of food for me. It would still be plenty if my wife took a few or a couple fries. I like McDonald's fries, but I always eat them last because while I don't mind if the fries are not piping hot, I do like the other food best when it's still warm. All right, this guy has his order down pat. He knows what's in it. He knows what order he wants to eat it in. This is not a man who is exactly ready for curveballs when it comes to this $5 value meal. Side note, having read other Reddit stories on this topic, I'm sure some will say just order more fries even though she says she doesn't want anything. I've tried. I get a medium for me and give her the small from the value meal. But a medium fry is almost $4, and it is over $4 with tax. That's adding over 60% to the cost of the meal. And when I've done this, then she insists on not touching the fries, quote, because I told you not to get any for me. That is absolutely unreasonable. I don't want to jump the gun, but again, I'm seeing a lot of red flags regarding a disordered relationship with food and with her body. It almost sounds like that's a line she can't allow to get crossed, that she doesn't order food at McDonald's. In a situation like this, it's possible that the person can't even see beyond their rigid rules about food to see that bigger picture, that her husband is trying to do something nice for her and is trying to resolve an issue where she keeps taking his food. The man wants his fries. So now I've got a small fry and medium fry to eat on my own, which I can do, but it seems like a waste to spend another $4 $4 since I was perfectly happy with the original amount of food. That's the hard thing here, is that this person knows what they want. They want this value meal off the value menu, exactly the way it comes, that exact amount of food, and they want to eat it. It's not like he's ordering something different every time and he can just order a bigger size of fries. He either gets this value meal that has the perfect amount of food for him and then also orders his wife the fries she wants, or this problem comes up. And in my opinion, he shouldn't really have to change or adapt the way that he gets a fast food meal. The wife should be looking at and healing her own behavior and her relationship with unhealthy food. And he should be supportive towards her and understanding as she does that. He could accommodate his wife's behavior by ordering something else. It's just not totally fair that he should have to do that. Anyway, on this day, I tell my son I want to do an experiment. I'll tell you, I don't love that this person is including their son. Again, just knowing that this is most likely food and body stuff that women get just exponentially more messaging about beginning at such a young age. I totally get being frustrated with her and wanting to do a little joke or prank. I just don't know about like including the 13-year-old son, and both of you are kind of laughing at her behind her back. I tell him after we get our food and get back to the car to take out all of his food, take my burger and give it to me, and take my McNuggets and hold them in the back seat so that the only thing left in the bag is my fries. Now, admittedly, a small fry at McDonald's isn't that many, but it's typically at least 20 to 30 fries. I tell him to put the bag with the fries on the console between my wife's and my seat, and to set up his phone to take a video of the bag from the back seat, which will record until I tell him to stop. I tell him that I am not going to put my hand in the bag at any time, and I predict that his mom will eat all my fries. Okay, I just want to mention as well that this person may not like realize. I could also imagine that to this OP, this is kind of like a light issue. It's something that's annoying for him, but he's probably not thinking about it being as deeply rooted as I'm thinking about it being. So I think that that could explain why he's comfortable involving his son and kind of like making it a joke and all of that. I'm gonna predict now that his wife has some kind of a big emotional response, because this is gonna be hitting that pain point about her relationship with food and her need to maintain a view of her eating habits that aligns with whatever those beliefs are about food. And I never read these stories beforehand, so we will find out together whether my predictions come true. Human behavior is hard to predict, but I have learned to recognize a lot of patterns throughout my line of work. Sure enough, we're driving along. I eat my burger, make some small talk, see my wife's hand go into the bag several times. I ask my son for my McNuggets. I eat those. FYI, I eat them sauce-free, so no mess in the car. I don't know why he included that, but I'm glad he did. Chit chat further, all the while smirking to myself as I see my wife's hand go into the bag some more. Finally, she says, "Okay, give me your garbage," and starts putting it in the McDonald's bag. I say, "What are you doing?" And she says, "Cleaning up." I say, "I still need to eat my fries." And she says, "We ate them all, honey." I'll admit I overreacted a bit here on purpose, incredulously announcing loudly, "What do you mean we ate them all? I haven't had any." To be clear, I wasn't mad. This was the result I expected anyway, but I tried to act mad while suppressing laughter. She said, "Don't be silly, I only had a couple." And I repeated that I had not had a single fry and that I had video evidence to prove it. She said, "What do you mean?" And I said that Nick had taken a video of the past 20 minutes or so, and you will not see me take any fries from that bag. So if they're all gone, it's because you ate them all. And she blew up at me and him in a way that I did not expect. But in a way that we expected, huh? Yelling about videotaping without consent, as if I had made a surreptitious sex tape or something egregious like that. Yelling at Nick for, quote, going along with your father's foolish pranks, etc. I told her that I just wanted her to understand that she eats more of my food than she realizes, and this is why I would prefer to just get her a separate order of fries so we can both enjoy our food without resentment. Without that piece of the puzzle about having a distorted relationship with food or your body, it would be as simple as that. She never watched the video, although I think she now believes she did in fact eat all the fries. Honey knows she ate all the fries. She doesn't need to see the video. All she needs is to know that it exists so she cannot gaslight herself or you any further about the situation. However, she's been ignoring me and, worse, treating our son badly, blowing up at him for little things that never bothered her before. For the past left 2 weeks, expecting an apology for videotaping her, I guess. That is not cool. As a parent, you should not be taking your emotional problems out on your kids. I could see a conversation with the dad maybe about like, let's not involve our kid in things like this where they have to be sneaking behind the other parent's back. We don't want to be like teaming up with the kid against one another. I do think it was kind of a mistake to involve the son, but I also bet that OP didn't think it was that serious. Although you'd think if he's seen other posts like this, he would be making a little bit of that connection, but I thought this was a harmless way to make my point. Am I the a-hole? I really wish she wasn't taking it out on her son. That makes me sad. Not the a-hole. Years ago, I told my wife that the way that she talks to me a significant amount of the time is rude and she didn't believe me. Somehow, the answering machine recorded her talking to me, and we found the recording later while listening to messages. She said, "Wait, I really sound like that?" I said, "Yes, a lot of the time." She was visibly embarrassed and started working on her communication style, which got better. Long story short, some people need to see unbiased evidence because they're too wrapped up in protecting their egos to admit to criticism from someone else. It is always good to have a way of reflecting your behavior back towards you in new ways, just kind of seeing it from more angles. I'm really glad that this worked out for this couple and that they were able to grow together in that way. That was really grown up of her to realize and change her ways. If only OP's wife was grown up enough to do this. I think it's too soon to tell what will happen with OP's wife. Really don't love the way that she's handling it right now, icing out her son or her husband, but maybe if she can reflect and really consider, it could lead somewhere. Although I do think he said it's been 2 weeks, and that's a very long time. If OP's wife stumbles upon these comments, "You posted me on Reddit?" OP, I think what you did is absolutely hilarious. Your wife doesn't want to face the music. She can still pound back McDonald's fries like they're nothing. You were her beard for the consumption of fries that allowed her to still be in her quote healthy mom woman of the year era. The video evidence destroyed all of it. That is a really funny take. I still think it's probably deeper than just wanting to be woman of the year or whatever. I think there's probably like a lot of shame and pressure she's feeling about it that's leading to some of these behaviors. Not an excuse, just an explanation. I wish that almond moms could comprehend that an occasional small treat doesn't mean you aren't healthy. The understanding I've picked up about almond moms is that it is kind of eating disorder coded. It's like the mom that eats one almond and then says, "Oh, I'm full." But I am off pretty much all social media, so I receive all this pop culture through osmosis between friends and clients. Everything in moderation, you know? Like if you're eating quinoa, ew, and broccoli 95% of the time, you're healthy. The one day you eat 30 McDonald's fries every 6 months doesn't magically erase the last year of cruciferous vegetables, probiotics, and Pilates. As someone who legitimately had an eating disorder, this stuff always smacks of eating disorder thinking to me. Exactly. How some foods are bad and have emotional baggage attached to them. In my case, it was stuff like having a mini panic attack when I was out with friends and realizing that the healthiest option on the menu was still 75% of my daily allotment and I hadn't worked out that day, ending with me sneaking to the restaurant bathroom too. I've also been there. It's terrible. It's not worth it. But unfortunately, it's all too common to have some spectrum of disordered eating because there's like reminders and pressure everywhere, and it's a lot to deprogram your brain about. In her case, it ends with a multi-day tantrum, taking her unresolved, disproportionate feelings out on her family, all over a tiny bag of fries because the secret video made her look for eating a single serving of food meant to be consumed by one person in one sitting. Nobody should be attaching that level of emotional baggage to food. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I'm glad that this person was picking up on that too. Maybe it's just a little bit of that takes one to know one recognition of that way of thinking. Helps me out in my line of work all the time to have dealt with several mental illnesses. I'm like, I recognize what you're doing here. God damn, 2 weeks over this? The 2 weeks is striking to me too. Like that's a very long time. I imagine that that's a lot of like reminding yourself why you're so upset about this and like staying stuck in the grudge. 2 weeks, that's a long time. OP's not the a-hole, but it also was kind of like a harsh way to confront someone about their body image and food issues. That's not OP's issue to solve. It is just something he could be mindful of and try to be supportive with as hopefully she works to unpack this. Am I the a-hole for wanting a toy toilet that is easy to clean. Partner and I are in the middle of renovating our home. I was tasked in finding everything needed for the renovation while my partner was the finance person. I always asked his input during the whole process, but he couldn't care less. We completed the powder room and he hated the new toilet installed, despite having told him there are different toilets and he didn't care much at that time. To him, a toilet is a toilet. That can be so frustrating if you asked his input beforehand. He only knows what he doesn't want once it's there. That stinks. So I got a toilet which was comfortable for me to sit on and easy to clean. He then realized toilets come in different sizes. The toilet installed was too high for him. So when we were renovating the ensuite, I found a toilet which was the average height for him with also the easy cleaning criteria. Rimless. What is a rimless toilet? I asked him to try the toilet before we get it installed. He was happy with the height. Then when he started using it once it was installed, he wasn't happy because the toilet seat is a bit too small in length. I gotta tell ya, not enough information here, but it does almost sound like the partner has trouble feeling satisfied. He's finding more and more problems, more things to change or throw money at. This could be somebody who just struggles with second guessing his decisions. So he keeps saying the toilet's okay and then he's like thinking, but is it really? But is it really? Therefore finding problems with the toilet. So I tried finding another toilet that is of average height, larger toilet seat, and a rimless one. Before committing to buying, I asked him to go try the ones I think might work for both of us. Now he wants a toilet that has a flat toilet seat like our previous one. Our previous one was the plastic cistern separate from the toilet, which doesn't suit the newly remodeled ensuite. It was so hard to clean. I'd spend so much time wiping and cleaning that old toilet as it had so many nooks and crannies. I meticulously chose a modern, minimalist, industrial look and a rimless back to wall toilet which doesn't have nooks and crannies to clean. And my dear partner wants something so outdated where he can sit comfortably for half an hour. I would love him to find a toilet that suits his needs, but am I the a-hole for wanting something easy to clean and aesthetically pleasing and not something ugly, impractical, and hard to clean? Well, right off the bat, one easy solution that could have come in here might have been a negotiation with the partner where OP says, I really don't want to clean that toilet, so if you want that kind of toilet, how about you take on the chore of cleaning it and I'll do something else to make our household run. You're not being unreasonable at all. A toilet is something you clean constantly, so practicality matters. If he cares so much about the seat shape or comfort, he should be willing to test options with you instead of dismissing your concerns. Renovations work best when both people give and take, not when one person vetoes choices after installation. Yeah, that's a great point. I'm so curious about why that's the way that this partner went about things. As long as the height is what you need, you can find a rim to install that's comfortable for him. Don't compromise on cleaning since you will likely be the only one doing so. Red flag. And why are you the one putting all the effort into this renovation while he throws money at it? Red flag. And why does he think he can barely participate but complain non-stop about the choices you told him in advance that you were making? Red flag. Not the a-hole, but your partner. What's with his behavior? This is someone you willingly live with? I don't know, the apathy alone is pretty not cool. It does seem really odd, especially in my opinion, combined with later finding problems with those choices that he had opportunities to consider in advance. He's an odd one. I wonder if he's as grumpy as he's coming off here. I'd be so interested to hear way more context about their relationship. Am I the a-hole for allowing a man to think I'm pregnant when I'm just fat while I was attending a wedding? I, 23 female, am an apple-shaped overweight woman with a particularly prominent belly. I attended the wedding of one of my cousins, 26 female. It was outdoors in Southern California. When the reception started, I was sweating like crazy and I was stretching my back. I was holding my back while stretching. This guy, Ted, mid-20s male, asked me if I needed to sit down. Honestly, he was absolutely dreamy. I said sure. I sat down and he asked me if I needed water. I told him I'm fine. He looked right at my belly and I guessed that he thought I was pregnant. I've gone through this a few times. We exchanged names and he told me he hopes I have fun. He said it in a tone as if to say, I hope you have fun, you poor pregnant woman, on this uncomfortable day. When I finally got on the dance floor, Ted danced with me. After the dancing, we sat together to talk. He looks fit and is like 100 pounds lighter than me, so I didn't didn't expect him to like me. I honestly think a lot of these kind of beliefs are impacted by media and advertising and different messaging people get, that like you need to lose weight to be attractive to a man, because it just doesn't line up with what I see in real life. I've seen many a skinny guy go after a plus-sized woman. You really can't predict what kind of features different people are going to be attracted to, but they try to program us so hard to find the same features attractive because it makes it easier to sell to us and control us. Listen, the tinfoil hat is going to come on and off. You can take it with a grain of salt. That's just my opinion based on everything I've seen. But he asked me out on a date. At this point, even though I wasn't 100% sure he thought I was pregnant, I felt guilty. I asked if he thinks I'm pregnant. He looked so disappointed at that question. He asked me if I'm saying I'm not pregnant. I told him I wasn't pregnant. He looked really disappointed. Unlike the genuine looking smiles I'd seen from Ted earlier, he put on this forced fake smile and asked if I wanted a drink. Oh my gosh, how uncomfortable is that? I don't get if Ted's problem was that she was baseline bigger than he expected, or that he had some particular interest in pregnant women. And to be honest with you, either of them sound like a red flag to me. I awkwardly asked him if he still wants to take me out on a date. It took such an uncomfortably long time for him to answer that I told him it's okay if he changed his mind. Oh my gosh, the rejection because you weren't pregnant. Over 2 weeks after the wedding, I saw my cousin again. After the usual pleasantries, she asked me why did I trick Ted into thinking I was pregnant. That's when I found out that Ted is a coworker. I told her that I just didn't want to say that I'm not pregnant, just fat. She said I really hurt his feelings. Am I the a-hole? Well, Ted forgot rule number 1, which is that you never assume that somebody is pregnant. You always assume they might just be fat. Always. If you think someone is pregnant, you sit there, maybe looking down at their belly, looking at them, asking them, what's new? What's going on for you? What have you been up to lately? You wait for them to tell you that. You don't assume. No, you are not the a-hole. I don't even know why you would think that. Just because Ted, who has a pregnancy, had his fragile feelings hurt. His feelings are not your responsibility. Your cousin also sounds, well, strange. The only thing, just playing devil's advocate here, that I would be curious about is how much OP did play into that. You know, she said she was stretching with her hands on her lower back. I wonder if she's ever like putting her hand on her belly, doing little things that she knows will make it seem more like she's pregnant. I'm not accusing her of that. It doesn't say she was doing that. I'm just curious if there is any basis to the terminology that she tricked Ted. But again, you never assume that someone is pregnant. And you'd think that if you had a pregnancy, you would know that. Am I the a-hole for being upset? My husband gave away our roasts while we slept. What in tarnation? I went to the store and bought 2 roasts for a total of about $40, veggies, etc., and made both roasts, so the cost with everything was probably above $50. I had been complaining to my husband recently that I am tired of cooking big meals for every meal and how much it's draining me. I spent all night cooking these roasts. I did this so we could store the extra and use it for a few days to give me a break. Wow, when I hear stuff like this, it really reinforces how much I love more egalitarian relationships. I'm particularly fond of that, like, equal value, different skills perspective. And I think that that varies relationship by relationship. That is ideally like a dynamic agreement between you and your partner where you figure out what each other need. Just things like this, like there is no reason that your husband can't be responsible for a couple of meals a week if you're feeling like this. Because a lot of the times what you see is that the flexibility allows everyone to have a more expansive experience and support like the full humanity and flourishing of everyone, which ends up being an investment that pays dividends. I was so tired today, so he took over with the kids alone and told me to take a nap. Oh, that's a great example of what I'm talking about. We normally parent together, but when one of us needs something, we take over to help, as couples should. I totally agree. I'm really glad to see that that piece is there. Sometimes the way that the workload is distributed kind of varies by domain. So like parenting might be different than general household management. In my opinion, I think everybody should be working toward, in my opinion, I think people should be working toward towards some kind of fairness, however that works in their relationship in all those domains, but sometimes based on upbringing and socialization, some of them come easier than others. When I was napping, he and the kids ate some of the roast and then he gave the rest to my sister's family. He says I'm upset for no reason as he didn't think we had room in our fridge for the bowl it was in. We have Ziploc bags I was going to put it in. And now that's like $50 worth of food that went to one meal. To clarify something, I didn't eat, but I don't eat meat, so he knew I wasn't going to. So after I got up, I had to cook dinner for myself, him, and the kids because there was basically no roast left. Well, no, you didn't. You did not have to do that. And in fact, I wouldn't have. I would have said, okay, I'm really frustrated right now because I didn't want to be cooking. So can you please figure out dinner? I don't know if we're going to get more context about their relationship and the dynamics of it. I'd be curious to hear OP explain why they do the majority of the cooking. I'd be interested to hear what those reasons might be. There might be reasons, but OP clearly needs to find a way to get a break every once in a while. I do feel like I should have specifically mentioned that it was meant for a few days, but there was so much I never thought he was going to give it away. I'm not yelling or anything, I just got really silent and he knew I was upset. I normally wouldn't have cared if he shared with them, but this was such an expensive, time-consuming meal. My husband doesn't do most of the cooking because I can do more balanced diets for the kids and he works from home, so it makes it more convenient. Oh, that's the explanation? I would have liked to know right there if OP works because I feel like that could have an impact, but that sounds like blatant weaponized incompetence. Nobody who's a functioning adult and parent is incapable of learning and figuring out what a balanced diet entails. We have got to stop collectively infantilizing men. It's a disservice to them. It's a disservice to us. Ridiculous. Also, working from home actually makes it easier to do more of the meal prepping. You can get things done on your breaks throughout the day. Get some vegetables chopped, get some fish marinating. These excuses don't make sense, so I'm definitely noting that. Update for clarification. My sister made chicken noodle soup from scratch yesterday for all of us too, but we gave her ingredients for it and it was also a planned meal. She's making pizza from scratch for us tomorrow, and again, it is a planned meal, so we supplied her with our share of ingredients for that too. She knew he said there was no room in the fridge and they ate their portion for lunch. He did not tell her it was an accident like some people interpreted. So the sister is also often making meals for the family. It does kind of make it even more understandable that the husband would think that this is a nice gesture. He's probably digging his heels in now and getting defensive because he's embarrassed he tried to do this kind gesture for your sister and now you're mad about it. So it sounds like at least some of this is about the finances for OP. Maybe it's more about the cost of the food. But you know, it's also possible that OP could just trust that things will all shake out in the end. I personally think it's nice to push through that uncomfortable entry cost to more sustainable communal ways of living, because I get it, change is hard, and it sounds like OP is really looking at her individual family and the cost that they spent on this food. If she could adapt a little, it sounds like it would be beneficial for her too. She started this out saying she needed a break from making big dinners, and it sounds like her sister is helping to provide that. So that's just a great example of what the benefit could be to embracing that more communal style habit of sharing your meals with loved ones that are close by. Final update. Holy assumptions, haha. No, we are not in a cult. My sister and her family live here with us. My husband apologized now and says from now on he will ask first, and I feel a lot better. No, I'm not teaching my kids that only women can cook. I'm teaching my kids that relationships differ and you do things you are good at. I totally agree with that. Everybody comes to relationships with different strengths. And like I said earlier, those strengths and the needs of your family and your household might fluctuate throughout the years as well. That is often the basis of a strong relationship, each partner being able to sort of play to their strengths. My husband made a dumb decision and he recognizes that now, but the amount of assumptions people here have come up with is wild. Not the a-hole. I'd be livid if I spent all that time preparing that and my partner just gave it away without asking me first. Perhaps he should try cooking some meals himself so he understands the time and effort and thoughtfulness that go into them. I think that does often end up being a good idea in relationships as well. Being able to take on the other partner's role once in a while to give them a break and to give you an appreciation for what they're doing. And I don't get OP's reasoning. Husband works from home, therefore it is easier for OP to cook. Like, what the hell? If he works from home, then he can be in the kitchen in a few minutes or spend part of lunchtime putting a meal in the crock pot or something. That's right, that work from home line might have worked on OP, but it's not gonna work for all of us who actually work from home. We know the kitchen is right over there, especially since she doesn't even eat meat, so she's only making it for the rest of the family. Why even cook separate meals? Just have the kids eat a vegetarian meal and dad can whip up extra proteins on the side if he's craving them. Yeah, I second that too. This woman is really going above and beyond for her family. And as she herself pointed out, there's no reason to read too much into this. I'm just gonna state it for the generalization. But sometimes when we really go above and beyond and bend over backwards in our family unit, it can create a dynamic that isn't totally healthy for anyone. I'm so upset by this. The fact that she feels it's her fault for not being specific means he puts all the mental load / labor on her. The dish wouldn't fit in the fridge. I learned by the age of 10 that you don't put food away still inside the cookware as a male in a Catholic home. Guaranteed he hasn't seen her do it. That is a great point. I was thinking when I heard that, like, wow, he was gonna put the whole thing on in there, huh? It seems like he either didn't want the same meal days in a row, or he was balking at the work it would be to put the food away. Or maybe he likes getting praise for his wife's work. Whatever the case, there's no excuse for giving away the dinner she made and expecting her to then cook him another one. Like I said, I wouldn't have done that. This relationship is clearly unbalanced. Assuming he's an adult, husband could also make more balanced meals for the kids and should be taking on more. Yeah, that person reacted exactly as I did hearing those excuses. If it doesn't work for your family for whatever reason, okay, but don't act like he can't do that. Feeding your kids is like a bare minimum parental skill, and with the internet, there's no excuse anymore for not knowing how to cook. You can learn to cook. I taught myself to cook. There are probably literally millions of videos and tutorials out there. Is he insane? In this economy, who's giving away groceries or offloading whole roasts? Roasts are so expensive now, we don't even buy them. Yeah, that's a great point. The price of groceries does just keep climbing and climbing because our survival is a business to them. It'd be nice if there was some reciprocity with the sister, but again, I feel like there could be if they started to create that dynamic. Not the a-hole. Your husband absolutely is. He needs to cook that exact recipe and then hopefully he'll apologize to you on his own. If you guys can afford the ingredients again, of course. Edit, OP, please read this set of comics on the mental load and share it with your darling. I'm not sure your relationship needs help equalizing, but if he's that dismissive of your hard work, and then I'm not gonna go through the comics right now, but I'll link them below if you're interested. Because it's not about sorry and moving on, it's about making it right. How could he make it right? By recreating her work so he knows what went into it. That's an interesting idea. I don't think it has to be the same recipe. I think just cooking dinner once or twice a week could help him have a newfound appreciation for the work that she's doing. It sounds like OP did come back and clarify that she doesn't believe she's in a toxic relationship, and yet the question of why her husband can't help her with some of the meals remains unanswered. Am I the a-hole for not supporting my wife's side hustle without getting details about what it involves? After returning home from work, our daughter was already asleep and the evening was going smoothly. Then my wife came to me and said she was planning to start a side hustle. She asked if she had my full support. I responded by asking what the side hustle would involve. She insisted that I give her a yes or no answer before sharing any details. I reiterated several times that I wanted to know more about the venture before giving my approval. She then asked if she had ever made poor decisions in the past, and to her credit, a previous side project she started was quite successful. However, she maintained that she shouldn't need to provide details and that my hesitation showed my love was conditional. Well, that sounds a little manipulative. I explained that I don't believe that's a fair comparison. Unconditional love and financial decision making are not the same thing. That's right. OP just gave her a little dose of reality there. Unfortunately, this led to her becoming upset and shutting down communication. Am I the the a-hole for not supporting her decision. Why is this screaming MLM to me? Not the a-hole. The fact that you won't share the details leaves me no option but to assume that it's not something I'd be okay with if I knew the details. And you making emotionally manipulative statements in order to get me to blindly agree just adds to that suspicion. So with the information given to me, I have no option but to say no. That's what I'd say if I were in your position. Someone said, "You are saying what we're all thinking," or some horrible multi-level marketing scheme, or she's become involved in a pig butchering situation. I forgot that's a scam type, and I was thinking pig butcher is a very niche side hustle. Oh my gosh, the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation says pig butchering is an investment scam where fraudsters gain the trust of victims over time and then deceive them into investing in fake crypto assets. I also took that commenter's words literally. Yeah, that's a major red flag. A side hustle could be anything from an MLM that loses money to a totally legit business. You're not an ATM, you're a partner. Asking for basic details before giving financial and emotional support is just common sense. Her refusing to share is weird and manipulative. If it is something like an MLM, there's probably someone in her ear, literally feeding her a script of how to get her husband's support. A lot of those businesses that are kind of scammy where you end up losing money employ cult-like tactics because they have to keep being able to like suck money out of their representatives. Or yeah, it totally could be something like an or something that she kind of knows OP's not going to be okay with. That's a silly hill to die on. If she does have a legitimate business, just tell him about it first. It could be that she's just embarrassed to like say her new dream out loud. In which case, girl, you're going to have to do it eventually. You might as well practice with the person closest to you. My well-off girlfriend won't help me. My girlfriend and I are both 25. She's an accountant and I'm a first year in a trade union. I'm earning $22 an hour while she's earning $33 and just recently got her first job offer for like $80K a year, which is more money than either of us have ever seen. I'm very happy for her. She's worked hard in school to get where she is today and I want her to succeed no matter what. Sadly, I don't think the feeling is mutual. When she was in school, she applied to every scholarship under the sun and got to the point that her money got refunded to her. And after 5 years of college, she managed to save up 15 grand of scholarship money. She is amazing. I, on the other hand, am earning $22 an hour until I get my second year raise in half a month. I try to save money, but as many in a relationship know, it's hard to do that when you want to go on dates. I didn't mind usually until I complained to her that I shouldn't be spending all this money on us because I just totaled my car and I need to save or at the very least take out some kind of loan. Now my girlfriend with her vast accounting knowledge recommended that I save $50 a month. She says that's what she does herself and she's doing great. I was baffled. I'm over here saving as much as I can from each paycheck and she's over there just saving $50 from a $33 an hour paycheck and she calls it responsible saving. Now I question her. Where does the rest of the money go? I kind of knew it went to clothes and makeup and just luxurious things, but I had zero clue she was spending her whole paycheck on these luxuries. It's so annoying because whenever I question her on this, she says, I have $14K in my savings. I'm doing just fine, trust me. And it's just so annoying because it's true. She is well off from those scholarships. But my point is, if she just saved like people normally would, she'd be doing a whole lot better. I would also be feeling frustrated. I'd be like, we're a team and we could be doing so much better. He is saying girlfriend, not wife. Your finances are not necessarily combined yet. I don't know, just something to think about. It does sound like this poster has some feelings about the scholarship money. You're not entitled to that money. She worked hard to apply to all those scholarships. So then I asked her, why hasn't she ever thought of saving some of that shopping money and spending it on us like I do damn near all my money? And she said, because I don't want to spend my money on that. That's on you if you want to, but I need to save my money. Referring to her $50 she sets aside each paycheck. And that's when I realized that I am being played financially. Everything else about this relationship is perfect except this. I can't believe I've been played this poorly. Or maybe I haven't. Maybe I'm overreacting and this is what a relationship should be. Maybe I'm not ready for a relationship. I don't really know at this point. I feel numb. There are a lot of possibilities in between those two options. That is goofy that she's an accountant and she's saving $50 a month. It sounds like OP's saying that the majority of her savings is from those scholarships, so it sounds like this girlfriend actually maybe isn't financially literate. I don't know if OP just didn't mention it, but it doesn't sound like she's investing her money. It doesn't sound like she's, you know, really finding those strategies that you would imagine a savvy accountant finding to help the pair of you get ahead. If this is more money than you guys have ever seen, then she is not your well-off girlfriend. She's your partner who's trying to claw her way into middle class, just like you. It sounds like there could be a lot of conversations that happen about how OP's feeling and how maybe he wants some of this financial dynamic to change. Have they ever even talked about their finances together as a couple? Have they talked about combining finances at some point? Edit, girlfriend and I have been together for 6 years and we have plans. I don't want her money for myself. I just want her money to, at the very least, pay for her side of things and stop expecting me to pay for everything because I have a dick in my pants. Well, okay, of course that is fair. We don't want anybody to be forced into stereotypes. Again, I think it starts with a conversation and telling her you feel that way. She did give a really weird and kind of troubling response when you asked her to help out more with the dates, but I imagine communicating more about how you're feeling and that you're feeling kind of used and that you're feeling like she's expecting this stuff out of you that you have not like agreed to. It's possible that could get them somewhere. Your answer is simple. Stop paying exclusively for dates and stop spending your spare money on her. Then save what you can. However, you don't get to dictate what she does with her finances. Very nicely put. You set those boundaries with your behavior of no longer footing the bill, but you also recognize the healthy limits of your control. Accounting professional here. That was great advice. Adding to it, maybe see if you two are going to be financially compatible before you keep making plans, especially if those plans involve shared finances. Have a chat about finances and what she thinks that would look like if you two got married or lived together or had kids or cats or whatever, because there might come a time where her money and your money become our money, and that also might include her debt and your debt becoming our debt, and you need to have those conversations in advance. It currently sounds like there's a bit of a disconnect, and while you cannot and should not dictate how she spends her cash and vice versa, conversations about finances are really important and often get forgotten in the excitement of making long-term plans. Oh, so much this. One of the best foundational conversations Hubs and I ever had was concerning money. We discovered that we are of similar minds in some areas, but not in others. I'm a ferocious saver. He likes his free cash, and that was a question we had to resolve. We had similar goals, buy a house, etc., and we made plans to accomplish our goals, and we stuck to them. Before we married, we agreed on how we were going to handle money. Short answer, his account, my account, and the house account. We both contribute half of our take home to the house account, and expenses out of the house account were approved by both of us. I've heard that exact strategy be very effective for couples. You do have to have these conversations. You have to find those strategies that work for both of you. I would advise you to see if you can find a mutual goal, make a plan, and see who can stick to the plan, barring life's curveballs. Have that conversation. It's a hard conversation for some, but not having it is so much worse. Money and are two of the things that are just the hardest for people to talk about, and both very important topics of conversation. It's definitely not universal. My husband and I started dating at the end of the last century, so the 20th century, and I, woman, paid for more dates in general because I had more income. Yeah, late 90s in the US or European country, totally normal. But there's a whole vibe to this post that's because it seems like there's a lot of resentment. OP should be looking at his budget and see what he can or can't afford. If this means fewer dates, it means fewer dates. And when his girlfriend asks, he can simply say that she was right, he looked over his finances and had to decide where cuts need to be made in order to start saving. It does sound like OP is jealous of her scholarships, but to get those she had to do a lot of hustling too. Edit to add, there are lots of dates one can plan that are very cheap or free. Yeah, that's so true. I'm sure for OP the upsetting thing is that it's not actually saving that his girlfriend is prioritizing over their dates, it's shopping. But if they both decided to set financial goals together, they could honestly have a lot of fun coming up with free or very inexpensive date ideas. I've been there many times just trying to reach different financial goals, and honestly there's still some of my favorite dates. My husband and I would pack like dinner or snacks and just bring a laptop with a DVD player and go watch a movie somewhere beautiful, like at the beach or in the park. Lots of options. You can't afford to take her out. She has told you it's on you if you spend money on her instead of saving. So stop spending money on her and start building your own savings. Quote, because I don't want to spend my money on that. That's on you if you want to, but I need to save my money. Take her at her word and stop going out. If she meant what she said, the two of you can start spending time together in a way that doesn't cost money. If she didn't mean what she said, then that tells you the true dynamics of your relationship, and you have to decide if that's okay with you. You're not wrong for asking her to contribute, but she has told you that's not what she wants to spend her money on. So you either stop spending money on dates or accept that you will always be the one to pay, not the a-hole based on the details we have here. Well, I don't think this person should just accept it because there are already a lot of feelings about it, and it sounds like it's just going to continue to breed resentment. But there could be a lot more options, a lot more negotiation that could happen here. You know, could you ask her to help you take care of your car since you're usually paying for these dates? Could you ask for this or that? Could you imagine some way that you guys could split things that would feel fair to you? Like, if it's not the dates, is there something else that you would feel good about her covering the bill of that maybe you could talk to her about? I have so many questions. Me too. 1, are you guys living together? You don't say in your post if you do or not. And if you live together, how are bills split? 2, have you sat down and had a serious talk about what your future together looks like? 3, is this your first serious relationship? You say you have been together 6 years, which is great, but if it's both of your first relationship, then it might be time to stop and evaluate. 4, why are you trying to question what she spends her money on? You aren't married or engaged. It can come off as controlling or as you not trusting her. She sounds smart if she managed to save $14K while going to school. Like I said earlier, girlfriend is not well off. This is a great reminder about why we can't make assumptions that people are good with money or are smart with business because of how much money they have. OP also said that she had 15 grand from the scholarships, so she actually managed to lose $1,000, which I'm not blaming her for, but I'm just saying she hasn't really saved 14K. She's actually losing money and replacing it $50 a month, which with inflation and the value of $1, that's just, it's unfortunate. It shouldn't be that way, but it's hard for that to get you anywhere. Sure, her saving advice isn't 100% solid. A little bit shaky, huh? When I was single, I managed to save 16K in about 9 months by putting $500 a paycheck in savings, plus whatever was left before a payday in savings. Keep in mind, I had a roommate that charged me approximately $500 a month for rent and utilities, had a $40 phone bill, and maybe spent $200 a month on groceries. Yeah, well, all of that is spoken as somebody who actually knows how to save. If you are so butthurt over not saving, maybe see a financial advisor that isn't your girlfriend. Great points, and especially about seeing a financial advisor, honestly, or at least seeking to find that education somewhere. You definitely can find it for free. I get the impression with the way that OP set up this dynamic that he and his girlfriend are both kind of trying to figure out how to manage money for the first time. So getting some help with that would be a really good idea. He needs to have some conversations with her about what their finances will look like moving forward, if they will ever share finances, all of that. Maybe explain to her why her $50 a month isn't really going to get her anywhere. You're not entitled to her money, but if you guys are planning to continue to build a life together, you do want to make sure she has some basic financial skills down. Am I the a-hole for reporting my date to their apartment complex? Do tell. I went on a date last night with this woman who seemed really nice. We went out to dinner, and while the conversation was a bit awkward, it was relatively nice nonetheless. This all changed when we got back to her place. There was a steaming pile of on the floor, despite her roommate being home, streaks of dog blood from happy tail syndrome, and other mysterious stains and spot on the floors and walls. Oh, it's giving neglectful pet owner, huh? It was disgusting, like truly and utterly nasty. There were also 6 animals under their roof. 2 dogs, 3 cats, and 1 fish. There was 1 litter box for all 3 of the felines. Yeah, that's definitely not enough. And the dogs' crates had literally nothing in them. No blankets, no pillows, no toys, nothing. Why even have animals at that point? Sometimes people's animals have their own needs that an outsider wouldn't understand, but this is sounding a lot like neglect. The animals are like dysregulated. Oh, I hate that so much. And that extends to the rest of the apartment. The whole time I was there, I didn't see a single cat tree, scratch post, toy, laser, ball, etc., etc. They had food bowls scattered around an ottoman for the cats to scratch, and that was it. Not all animals like toys. I once had a cat that didn't want to play with anything or scratch anything, but for all of the animals to not have an interest, that seems seems strange. I blocked her when I got home from the nasty apartment, but this morning I called their office and reported them both for having 6 animals, only allowed to have 2 according to the lease, and for potential animal cruelty. Yeah, I don't blame this person at all. And that's one of the big reasons that housing complexes will have those kind of limitations. Because if you don't have the time, attention, and resources to be caring for the animals, it's really not a good situation. I don't think she physically abuses the animals, but the lack of enrichment and proper furnitures, like the single litter box for 3 cats, along with the blood, it all really worried me. I told my mom, and she's trying to paint a picture of what if they can't afford toys, and when I had a dog, it was reported. I was so sad, but I think I did the right thing. If it's not animal cruelty, then nothing will happen. If it is, the animals can be removed and put somewhere safer or happier. Am I the a-hole for reporting it? It's too late now, it's already done, but after talking to my mom, who's starting to make me out to be the a-hole, I'm starting to feel like one. Well, it sounds like mom is really projecting. I'm sure it is upsetting and that it doesn't feel good to have somebody report you for some kind of neglect or failure, but it can also be the wake-up call people need. So maybe mom's kinda just making this about her. Not the a-hole. That is too many animals for a standard apartment, and they're clearly being neglected. If date and roommate can't afford to treat them properly, they had no business acquiring so many animals. Side note, I have no idea how people get a dog and just don't house train them. It's disgusting. It's literally the first thing I do with a new puppy. OP says, I think the dog was actually a puppy and I can't really blame it for being on the floor. The main reason it icked me out so much was because the roommate was literally home and you're telling me he didn't see or smell it? Like it was a pile of logs, ain't no way. Part of house training a pup is cleaning as quickly and thoroughly as possible when they have accidents. Leaving the mess teaches the pup that it's fine to have dog / in the house, so the pup will continue. On the occasion my adult dog, out of sudden illness in the night, went in the house, he was clearly deeply uncomfortable because he knows poop is for outside. Thank you for reporting this. Those poor creatures deserve better than these irresponsible idiots. The animals can't speak up for themselves, so luckily this poster did use their voice to call out their concerns. Could they have talked to their date about it first? I guess, but that's not enough of a guarantee that this would be taken seriously. I can't imagine how uncomfortable that must be on a date, to go to someone's home and there's shit on the floor and there's all these red flags and you probably got the ick the second you walked through the door. That's awful. That sounds so tough. Those are all the stories I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe and I will see you next time.